Welcome to the Bama Bo Show. I am your host, Bama Bo. I'm really looking forward to the show today because I've got a surprise for Phyllis. That's right, Phyllis. She is back on the show today, and I got a little surprise for her that she doesn't know about. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's get right to it.
Remember the day Bear died. Only time he ever saw tears in his daddy's eyes. And he's a good man. He's God-fearing as long as the tide is in.
And welcome back to the show, Phyllis. How are you doing today, Phyllis? It is so good to have you back.
I'm doing much better, and thank you so much for having me on your program again. I
Well-
really do appreciate that.
Listen, last time you were such a big hit, Phyllis. I mean, I don't think either one of us expected the kind of talk we would get after the last conversation because, we had gotten into some deep discussions about depression and this and that. And I think you and I both got tremendous feedback off of that, which was incredible because, as you know, it was not scripted or planned. We were just having a conversation.
It came from the heart. It came from experience, and I just hope it helped one person. I really do.
Exactly.
I just hope it helped one person.
Exactly. And that was, to me, was just the best conversation to get into something like that. And so, okay, Phyllis, I know you saw on Twitter and stuff where I was kind of excited about having a little surprise for you today. Well, I got to thinking about something that you said in our last conversation, and it really hit my heart. You said in the last conversation, in which you were very, upfront. Everybody knows your situation. You're very vocal about it. Your life is an open book. You and your husband both have health problems, and you've discussed that. And then also you were talking about your son last time, and you said he needed a hero. And when you were referring to Gene Stallings and all that. So anyway, that just really touched me because I got to thinking, Phyllis, even the strongest of the strong needs a hero sometimes.
That's true.
They do, don't
That's
they?
true.
And
yes, they do.
And I think that it's so important to be able to help somebody. And I know you and I have talked about this, and you're a spiritual person, and as am I. And I've really been praying very hard for your family for the past couple of weeks, ever since you were open. I didn't know all your health history. And so since then, I've been praying very hard for your family and just really touched by everything that you do. And so I thought, you know what? I would like to do something to give back to Phyllis. Phyllis has touched us so much all these years. And so it just kind of come to me. You know how they say, Phyllis, the power of prayer is stronger in numbers, right?
Yes, no doubt.
Okay,
no doubt.
I don't mean to get all spiritual because I know people are like, hey, this is an Alabama football podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, we can't leave the good Lord out.
No,
I can't do that.
Absolutely, and I'm going to tie it back in, I promise. So, but anyway, I know you believe that way, and I know that in the Scripture it says where two or more are present, He will be there also, right?
Amen. That's the truth.
So I got to thinking, Phyllis, okay, there's you and there's me. But there's a couple of other people too. And I'd like to play something for you.
Okay.
This first one, this is somebody that you know all too well because he's a huge fan of yours. This is my brother. And he sent you a message, and I just thought it would be important for you to hear a message from one of your biggest fans because I think he speaks for all fans. And what's really cool about you too, Phyllis, is I know you don't call them your fans, you call them your friends, but that's another thing.
They're my friends.
Yeah.
They're my friends.
And I think that's another thing that makes you so special. But anyway, here's a little message for you from Randy.
Hey Phyllis, just wanted to say hello, and I'm so glad that you are hooked up with my sister. She's a really good person, and she would be nice to meet you someday. You and your husband are definitely in our thoughts and prayers. We love you, and hadn't met you, but you sure feel like family to me. Been listening to you for years, and just felt like a family member every time I heard you. Not any of them other clowns on Paul Feinbaum, but just you. Roll Tide, darling. Hope you feel better.
Oh, that is so special to me.
And so there's 3 of us, right? Well, here's another one, Phyllis.
Hey, Phyllis, this is George Teague, former member of the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Dallas Cowboys, and I just wanted to say, hey, I was thinking about you and your family. Our prayers are with you. Hang in there, stay strong. God bless, and roll tide.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is awesome. Oh my God, I don't even know what to say. I never thought I'd ever. I never thought I'd ever meet him, much less even speak with him. And that just. Oh man, I am blown away. I love your brother. I love your brother, and he is my brother. I just got through speaking with George Teague, one of the. Can I say something about him?
Absolutely.
All my years of Alabama football since I was a little girl, the run in the mud with Stabler, the Penn State goal line stand, all those plays were the finest of the best of the best.
That's right.
But I'm going to tell you something. When George Teague ran that Miami player down and stripped that ball and gave us that national championship and handed it to Coach Stallings, that was the greatest play in, I know, Alabama history. And if you want to ask me, it was the greatest play of any other college football player I've ever seen. That sealed it for me. And I broke my coffee table with my fist. I'm not kidding you. I had a solid mahogany coffee table sitting in front of us, and I was beating that with my fist. Every time he took a step, I hit it with my fist, screaming, Teague, Teague. And I'm not lying to you. My husband's trying to calm me down, and he couldn't. And it all of a sudden, my next door neighbor, he jumps in his car and takes off. Well, I found out later he went down the road to my neighbor's, and she told me later on, he come running in there, and she said, I thought you was watching the game. He said, hey, I'm not staying up there. He said, Don and Phyllis has got some crazy man at their house, and he said, I don't know what's going on, but somebody's getting killed. And she said, that was just Phyllis rooting for Alabama. And I'm not kidding, my fists were bruised. They were bruised. Oh, but it was worth every bit of the hurt. It was worth it. Thank you for that. Thank you for your brothers, and thank you for that. That is just, you don't know what that's done for my spirit.
Well, I know you love George Teague, and
I do. I do. I respect him so much.
Phyllis, I got one more for you. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
All right. This is last, but certainly not least. All right. Here we go.
Jay Barker and Bama Bo told me that she was going to have a special guest on this weekend and that Phyllis is going to be on, and just wanted to tell Phyllis how much I've always appreciated her as a Bama fan, and also how she supported our 92 team. Always called us her favorite team. But out on the road with Sarah this weekend, actually here and getting ready for a concert in Missouri, and then tomorrow we've got the old family fish fry that we do each and every year with Sarah's family. So just wanted to let you know, Phyllis, I'd heard that you and your husband were not doing well, and just praying for you guys, praying for healing, and just hope that you guys had a great 4th of July, and hope you have a great interview with Bama Bo. So just wanted to tell you hello, thank you, roll tide, and we're praying for you. We love you.
Oh, my God, that was beautiful. That was awesome. 92 all over again. I mean, it's awesome. Oh, my God.
And, Phyllis, I just had to do that because, prayer in numbers, right? So there's 5 of us, Phyllis. And just to think, Phyllis, Jay Barker and George Teague,
I love him,
were on vacation and did that. They didn't even hesitate.
You're kidding me.
They didn't even hesitate.
Well, see, that speaks for their character. That they would take somebody that's really just a homebody old woman and do that for them. That speaks of their character and what great people that they are, that they'll take their time. And I know their time is precious because they are very, very well known and popular in this world. And for them to take that time for me, that touches my heart more than you could ever know. And I will forever, ever remember this day. God bless you for that. Thank you so much for doing that. I am blown away. I had no clue. No clue whatsoever. That's the sweetest thing anybody's ever done for me.
And you know, well, thank you, Phyllis, and really just thanks to those guys, because you know the thing about it is, and to tie this all back, it to me as a fan, to know that someone like them is praying, that
Yes.
just lifts your spirits in itself, you know, and it's incredible for them to do that. But it also, and I knew you were going to say that, because I was about to say a while ago, I was going to say, people, if they don't understand it's not just about being an Alabama fan, it is the men that Alabama produces. And
Exactly.
you said that a while ago. These guys are of great character, and
Yes.
they have always represented so well, and they love to give back. And not all people would do that, but those Alabama football players, they've always been that way.
That's why I've always loved them. I mean, I've always had my picks, you know, my certain picks, just like little old Prothrow. When he broke his leg, I cried for 2 days. You know, it's just when things happens to them like that, it just tears me up, because those young men, you know, they work hard. They get out there on that field and they work hard for us fans to be able to carry this pride and hold our heads up high. And heck yeah, we're from Alabama and we're proud of it. We always will be proud of it. What you got? You got anything you want to say about your state? We got plenty.
That's right.
And that's just what I'm just so tired of the way people run Alabama down. It's just not fair. There's some of the best people that ever lived that lives right here in this state.
Absolutely.
And I can attest to that.
Absolutely. And you were talking about Prothrow, like
Christopher and I both were humongous Prothrow fans, and we both saw that, and Chris and I both cried. I mean, tears just rolled down our cheeks, because Chris said, "There is a man right there." And I said, "Chris, I know it. I know it." Because when he broke his leg, Chris hollered out. He said, "Oh, my God, no, because it was Prothrow all the way that year he played." And then when that happened, it just broke our hearts. It did, but we have prayed for him for so many years, and he's had so many hardships and things, and God bless him. And then I was able to be fortunate enough to meet him up in, I believe, towards Huntsville for this little signing thing that he did. And he was one of the kindest, most gentlemen, the nicest gentleman I've ever met, one of the nicest ones I've ever met. And I got to hug his neck, and I told Chris, I said, I never thought I'd be able to hug Prothrow, but I did. I hugged him today, and Chris wasn't able to go, and Chris was just, "Oh, no, you didn't, Mom." I said, "Oh, yeah." I threw my arms around him, and I hugged him like I had that football, and I was running with it.
Oh, I've always wanted to meet him. He just always seemed like he was a nice guy.
He's the sweetest, most down-to-earth person. Oh, my God, he sits there and talks to you like he's known you all his life.
Oh.
He is so kind and cute as a button. He's just cute as he can be.
Yes. And, you know, he had, in my opinion, probably at least one of the top 3 or 4 plays in Alabama history. Remember that catch? Yeah. That crazy catch in the end zone?
I know it. I mean, just so many great things. But I've got to go back now to your brother to do that. So sweet.
Oh.
My Teague. I call him My Teague. And Don calls him Fatigue because he says I wear myself out talking about him. and then my Jay Barker, of all people, and they're praying for me. Oh, I got this. Me and Don, we got this.
That's
the good
right.
Lord knows it.
That's right.
And, oh, what a day.
That's right.
What a wonderful day.
You know,
God
Phyllis, you just uplift so many people. Like, you just uplift so many people. And to me, that just speaks for how people think of you when they just don't even hesitate to do something that sweet. Like, I mean, that's just how people think of you. And that's astounding in itself. So you just have impacted so many lives.
I don't know how to say this. I don't know why, but I love all people. I just love people. I'm a people person. And it's like you said earlier, people aren't my fans. They're my friends. You want to follow me, you're my friend forever. Even if you unfollow me, you're still my friend.
Yeah.
Because you came in the first place to follow me and to know a little bit about me. And I have never, ever felt for 1 second that, as a matter of fact, I've always felt like I wasn't good enough for certain people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I always felt I wasn't worthy enough for the elite or people in high places, and that would just humble me so much. But here you have people like Jay Barker and George Teague and your brother to come and do this and do it for me. That makes me feel like I'm not so bad.
That's right.
I'm an okay person, you know.
That's
I must
right.
be pretty special for someone to do that for me, and God bless them.
That's right.
God bless them.
That's right. Because, that's the thing, like, sometimes, and I'm the same way, Phyllis. Like, I can be in a crowd of people, still to this day, like, I could be in a crowd of people and feel like I don't belong in that crowd of people,
Yeah.
You just always have I think that's just a general nature of people to always have a little bit of a complex and not feel worthy. But for these football players to make you feel worthy is super cool.
Oh, they're wonderful, and that's I just love Alabama. I love the Crimson Tide. I love everything about them, and the Sabins. I mean, we've just got a great thing going, and that's the reason I get so angry when the Tide is put down and Alabama is put down, not just as a team but a state. I just don't like that, because I've seen this state for 70 years, and if anybody knows this state, I know this state, because this is where I've been for 70 years. So you can't beat me verbally to death on that fight, because I'll get you every time.
I wouldn't doubt it, Phyllis. Hey, since you mentioned this state, I really meant to ask you this the last time we talked. Were you born an Alabama fan, Phyllis?
Oh, yes, my goodness. My daddy was an Alabama fan before I was born, so I was born one. Oh, yes. And born into the Alabama fan. And I was born in Mobile, and then a few years later, Mom and Dad moved up here to Birmingham. And I've been here all my life, raised in West End, the West End of Birmingham.
Yeah.
And loved it over there. That's my old stomping grounds. I just loved it there. And went to school and everything, and it's just my state, and I love it, and I love the people in it, and there's kindness here, there's generosity here, there's people I've seen the poorest of the poor in this state practically take their shirts off their back because they thought someone standing beside them was cold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of people I've met here in Alabama. And if everybody in every state could just take a little bit of that, this country wouldn't be in the shape it's in right now if they could just take a little bit from them. Which I know there's many people in other states that does the same thing, but it's just a lesson that I just wish everybody would learn. Just like I've said before, love one another. It's so much easier to love someone and to pray for someone. And if they hate you, pray for them. Don't hate them, because it's so much easier to love than it is to hate. It hurts to hate. It drives your blood pressure up. It keeps you angry. It makes you sick. And there is no room for hate in this world. But God help us all. There's so much of it.
There is.
And that's one of the things I pray for. I pray for the hatred going on in this country, and I just wish it would stop and people would come back to God and just come back to what we used to be.
Yeah.
America. And we were America. We're not that way anymore. We're divided.
Well, and a big amen to that. And you're right. It is. You said something that's so true. It takes more work to hate.
Oh yes, it takes a deep down guttural thing in you to hate someone, to love someone. It's an uplifting and a light feeling, a beautiful feeling to feel love for someone that don't drag you in the dumps, that don't get you, that don't attack your self-esteem or anything else. And my mom always said it's easier, to catch flies with sugar than vinegar. Be kind. And that's two of the things they taught my mother and daddy. Love one another and do as you would have others do unto you. And that was the two main things our parents raised us with. And thank God they died young, but we had good, decent Christian parents. And they raised us up. We were dirt poor. We were dirt poor. But they raised us up. There was many a nights we went to bed. I know what it's like to be a little kid, to crawl in the bed and pray, because my stomach hurt me so bad because it was hunger pains. And I would cry because I knew my mom and daddy couldn't help it. But God came through. We lived through it. We got through it. And that made me humble. That made me thankful, so that when we did get a biscuit on that table, we were thankful and we said grace over that biscuit, because that's the way it should be.
We take so many things for granted, don't we, Phyllis?
Exactly. Be thankful for what you have. Some people, they don't think they've got anything. They've got more than they could ever think they have. Look at someone who has nothing, and then take inventory then of yourself. You'll find out you have a lot more than other people thrive on and has to thrive on. And it's so I've been there. I've been poor. I've been down. I've been bullied. I've been to all those places, but I've came out of those places a better person than the people that were treating me that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the bully.
Yeah.
I rose above them. Instead of getting in the gutter with them, I rose above them. And now there was a few knockout dragouts I had when I was a kid, but it's because they hit me first. You hit me first, you're going to get me back. And they did. They got me back. And I whipped their butt. And that's just the way it was. I didn't hurt them or send them to the hospital, but I did make them not want me to hit them again.
Yeah.
And they left me alone. I just give them one good fist, because I was raised with 5 brothers. I just would knock them out one time, not knock them out, but fist them one time, and they'd leave me alone. They'd get up and say, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to mess with you, okay? We'd become friends. I became friends of many of my bullies. I really did.
Wow.
And I enjoyed being their friends, and but they had to realize they just couldn't go through life that way, and that's what I'd tell them, you're going to have a lot more people to knock the fire out of you if you keep that bullying up, because it's not going to work. It's just going to make you more hateful, make you meaner, and nobody is going to want to be around you, because they're either going to be afraid to be around you or ashamed to be around a bully.
That's right.
And bullies they're cowards.
They are, and I would really like to see a huge end to bullying fast. I'm so sick of bullying.
Yes.
I mean,
me too.
And even you get the little bully cowards on Twitter. I mean, like, why do that? Why be keyboard cowards and bullies? Like it. I don't get the hate, and I don't get anybody wanting to put other people down like that. That's just
nope.
I can't stand it. I mean, I wish there was a resolution for it. And, nobody deserves to be bullied. Nobody. No,
they don't. They don't. But everybody has got an opinion, and the opinions vary to so many degrees. and it'll turn into just a big fight if you allow it, or you can just, slam them with another tweet and sign off and don't read anymore. And, if you're not reading anymore, it's not getting to you. And so it's just like, I don't know, just like this political stuff. I'm a Trump follower. Yes, I am. But I'm always having to defend myself because I voted for him, and I don't think that's right. I don't think people should jump on me because I voted for Trump, and vice versa. I just don't think the political stuff has got out of hand as well as far as hatred's concerned.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's crazy that we have to defend ourselves just because you vote.
Yes, I don't go and have spend the night parties at Trump's house or anything like that. I don't go to dinner with them, but there's things that he does do that I'm proud that he has done for this country, and there are things that he says and does that I think, what'd you do that for? But still, I think he's the best that we can have right now. He's doing his best, and I just wish people would leave him alone and quit being so angry over it and let him do his job. I mean, my God, he's doing it for free. He's not even taking a payday.
Well, you know what I would like to see, Phyllis, regardless of whether you're left or right, people should get behind their president. And
that's it.
And we're seeing more and more divide where they don't do that, and that to me is heartbreaking.
That's right. These protests, I think, are the ones that are just sickening me because people, these anti-Trump, anti-this, anti-that protests, it's getting so many people hurt. There's fights breaking out. It's getting horrible to where if you're the president or you're running for president or something like that, somebody is going to get hurt because of who they vote for or they follow. And it's a heck of a note that our country has come to that.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I know. I wish we could live and let live and let love and just be done with this.
Yep. Yep.
And
people, they seem to think that Republicans don't care about the poor. They are now. I can't speak for all Republicans, but I can tell you, I'm one Republican. That's a lie, because I'd feed anybody. I'd give anybody my last morsel of food if they were hungry. And even if I was hungry, I'd still give it to them. Mm-hmm. And I have empathy, and I feel sorry for all these people that come over the border, and these children hungry, and all this going on. Something has got to be done. If you can't do it for the adults, then let the adults come together and look what these little children are going through and do it for them. I mean, they're suffering. They're burning up in the heat. They're hungry. They don't have homes, and that breaks my heart. And I don't care who you are, what country you come from. You're still a human being. And what happened to human kindness, people? What happened to that? We got to get that back. I know our country can just afford so much, yada, yada, but when it comes back to money and greed every time. And if there's one thing I do hate in my life, that's greed. That is my number one hate. Greed is the only thing I hate. I despise it. I despise it.
And it's funny too, Phyllis, you were talking about being raised poor and hungry and this and that. And a few years back, I think sometimes you don't really realize until you've been in a situation the act of human kindness. And when you finally have something kind happen to you, it's really an eye-opening experience. And back in 2012, a tornado came through our neighborhood. Well, it destroyed the whole neighborhood. And I can remember, and my son at that time was probably 11, still living at home. The other one was at Alabama. And I can remember the Salvation Army trucks and all the people camped outside giving us food, and
Yes.
and like Chick-fil-A people just coming by and dropping off sandwiches. But I'll never forget walking outside and walking down the street, and I saw kids from Clay Chalkville High School helping clean off the roads. They had come from school to do that. I was like, "What are y'all doing?" "Oh, we're just clearing off these streets for y'all." And just to think that they had the teenagers involved in it. And I just remember,
Exactly.
I remember sitting there looking around and just thinking, these people like Salvation Army and Red Cross and all the things I've always taken for granted and never really noticed before are suddenly here at my rescue.
That's right. I wanted to come down there and help. I was just coming off that chemo at that time. I wanted to help during that cleanup so bad. In 1998 when that one come through Jefferson County.
Yeah.
And it was all around Mulga. Mulga wasn't touched. It was like the angels shut off every exit and entrance into Mulga because every little town around it was wiped out. The trees looked like toothpicks sticking up out of the ground. Well, me and my sister-in-law, I was able, and we got out and we went all over the places in West Jefferson, and that was one of the best feelings I ever had in my life. No matter how tired my sister-in-law and I were from dragging tree limbs to the road, bagging poor beloved pets that had died during it,
Yeah.
and trying to comfort the people who had lost everything. As tired as we were, when I got home and sat down, I was the happiest woman in the world because all I could think of was, Lord, thank you for giving me the strength to help. Please give me the strength tomorrow. I got back up and we went for a week or two doing that in that same place until it was pretty much restored. Then we went on to Edgewater and McDonald's Chapel and places like that. And that made me feel so good to be able to do that and to hug somebody that was standing there crying that just needed to be consoled.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that's what God put us on this earth to do, and we've come so far from that. We got to get back. We've got to get back. We just got to.
Yeah, and to have seen such kindness, it really changed me because, now every time I see like a Salvation Army truck or you see them outside of Walmart and you've never thought anything before, now I go over there and I give them money because I know what they do. And and then just to know that all the people, and I mean they came from all over, Phyllis, just surrounding the neighborhood and helping. It's just the kindness. That kind of kindness, you just don't know until you experience it, and it changes your life. And I'm a better person for it because now I'll do anything I can to help anybody.
See, it's trickle down, not economics. It's trickle down humanity.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It affects everyone, and you pay it forward. If you can't pay it forward in money, pay it forward in doing something good for someone or helping someone. Just in any way. Sometimes the smallest things you do for a person can mean the world to them when it didn't cost you a thing, just cost you maybe a little energy, but it meant the world to them. And that's something that's priceless that no one can buy. Is the love and the compassion and the empathy from someone else who looks them in the eyes and says, I care.
Yep.
I care. I love you. I don't know you, but I love you.
Yep.
And I care about what's happened to you, and I'm going to help.
That's right.
It takes the last breath in my body, I'm going to help. And there's no better feeling than when they look at you and they say, thank you. And you can see it in their eyes that it touched their hearts, that you cared.
That's right.
That's the greatest feeling in the world to me.
And actually, this is probably a good time to circle this right back since you just said that, because that brings me back to J. Barker and George Teague. You talk about an act of kindness, for them to take a second to do something to make somebody's day. And I'm not even kidding with you, Phyllis. This made my day maybe as much as it did yours. Because
I won't tell you, I am I am blown away. I am blown away. Don is sitting in yonder right now, and I don't think he knows who it was yet, but it's going to blow him away too, because he feels the same way, and I'm just plumb nervous from it. I am so humbled and honored for those phone calls.
Well,
and
it's
like I said, I'll never forget this day. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, and same here, Phyllis, and like it's just so funny because like this was, totally just something that to boost your spirits, but it's funny how things like that happen that I think boost all of our spirits, because I was so thrilled over that, just to be able to for them to jump on and do that meant the world to me, so it's like it's just great all around, and then for them to take the time to do it, just.
Well, what about the time it took you to ask them to do it? Thank you. God bless you from the bottom of my heart, honey. Thank you so much.
I didn't do
I love
nothing.
You for doing that. You've just filled my heart up, and so have they. And I won't forget their voices. I won't ever forget this as long as I live. What they did, and they did it for me, and I'm stunned. But I'm so honored and humbled. I'm not stunned because I know they're that kind of people.
Yes.
They're that good at people. I'm just stunned that they had the time to take out for me, and they did it. And that has just made me feel so special.
I'm so glad.
Made me feel so
And you know what's funny? So we really hadn't even talked about football. And, I told you earlier, I said, we'll just wing it because things always work out in this conversation.
Hey, we're going to talk about some football. We're going to get on to football, people. I promise you we're going to get on to football. And there's no question about it. We're going to talk about who we got this year and just who they're going to pick up and who they're going to put down. I mean, it's going to be, we have got a team this year. I know I say it every year, but this year, my brother has helped me really study this roster, and we have got some dynamite for that field. And I say, come this way. It's going to be awesome. You want to talk about epic, just wait till Alabama hits that field. They're going to be epic. I've got it in my gut. And but if they lose, I still love them.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to win this year. They're going to win.
I got a good feeling, Phyllis.
Oh, I can too. I've got the row tied in me already, and I need a dream. I wish I could just get out on the field. I wish I had the energy and the breath to get out on the football field and just one time run George Teague down. But I know I could never do it. Even if I had the energy, he runs like a gazelle. I'm not kidding you. That's the fastest man I've ever seen in my life. I thought he was flying. I don't think his feet was touching the ground when he caught that Miami player. And oh, what a special moment that was. But my coffee table lived through it. It was solid mahogany, and I'll always buy mahogany furniture from now on.
Yeah, I told him, I said he looked like he'd been shot out of a cannon. Like, it was insane.
I know, and the crowd went wild. And, of course, I couldn't tell it. Don told me they were because I was already wild. I was a wild woman. And it's a good thing I wasn't at that game. I may have wound up on the field helping him. I don't know. I may have jumped that fence. No, Coach Stallings wouldn't have doubted me doing it. He wouldn't have doubted me jumping that fence. He wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't.
That 92 team is just special to me. Just special.
Oh, very, very. Okay. Chris has got the SEC championship newspaper with Lemansky Hall, with Classic, with Teague, and all them, and every one of them has signed it on their picture in a frame. And we've got the national championship poster where Coach Stallings signed it, and he's got several signatures just on the SEC championship game against Florida that year, that 28-21 against Florida, and they're awesome, and we look at them often, and talk about them and how great. And I have others too, other pictures, newspapers and stuff like that, but there's just not a more special one than that 92 year to us. And of course, Coach Stallings made it even more special too. And the team that he did like Bear, he took boys and he turned them into men.
He sure did.
He followed in Bear's footsteps. And Bear, I know, was smiling down at Coach. I know he was, because he was like a son to Bear Bryant. And I told him, I said, Bear's proud of you. I know he's proud of you.
Oh. Well, Phyllis, the last conversation we had where you talked about some of the things Coach Stallings had done, I just get goosebumps sometimes just thinking about it. I told you then, it's just those are things that the common person don't know that coaches do. And
yes.
And for him to do those kind of things, and then you talked about some things that Saban had done. That to me is just, I just honestly, I just sit around and think about those things sometimes, and I hope other people did too, because I know that was the first time I had heard that stuff. And amazing people. Stallings was an amazing coach,
Exactly.
but he's an even better man.
Exactly. And a lot of people doubted me. I've got pictures of that day in that office. I've got dozens of pictures. And there's one picture I wouldn't take nothing for. And my daughter, Tina, who passed away in 2010, she was down there that day with us with her with her son, Adam, and then little Lexi. She was 9 or 10 months old. And Tina was standing there holding Lexi, and Coach goes over there and he says, "Let me see that baby." And he grabs Lexi, and nobody saw this coming. He takes his arms and sticks her straight up in the air, and she starts giggling. And he brings her down and blows on her belly. And that baby just went into a tirade of laughs. And I've got a picture of him doing that. And that's the sweetest thing I've got in my album.
Oh, my word.
See what I mean? You wouldn't think a coach would do that. Just grab a baby and blow on its belly and just tickle it and just get it so tickled. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. And Adam, he showed Adam. Adam was something like 3. He showed Adam all his badges, his little knives. It's got Gene Stallings' signature on them. And he just walked around with my grandson, and Adam's eyes was big around his quarters. And he took time with those little fellers and with little Lexi and Adam, and that meant the world to Tina. And then as we were leaving, he grabbed Tina and hugged her and kissed her on top of the head. I'll never forget that. And she says, "Mama, Coach Stallings kissed me on top of the head." I said, "Well, I'm so proud of that." And then when she was going through her chemo, when she was so bald, she brought that up. She said, "I wish I could see Coach Stallings again." But
God, that gives me chills.
She said, "I wouldn't have no hair this time." I said, "Coach Stallings wouldn't care. Lexi didn't have any hair, and he kissed her on top of the head." And Lexi was less than a year old.
That just, oh my gosh, that gives me goosebumps. But what memories.
Tina would get chills. She just loved him so much. If you'd be in a room and just talking about Coach Stallings, and Tina would just beam, and she'd say, "Mama, I've never been in the presence of someone who made me feel so comfortable, so good, and so significant as Coach Stallings and the stature that he is." I said, "He's an everyday, down-to-earth, good Christian man, Tina." Tina says, "Well, he proved it." I said, "He didn't have to prove it. I already knew it." But we'd make little jokes like that and just get so tickled.
Oh, my goodness. See, those are the things people don't know about coaches. But not just coaches, Alabama coaches in particular.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you what, Coach Stallings, out of the whole family, he loved Tiny Tide the most. That's my little cockatiel. He whistles J. Alabama, the first line of it. He whistles it. And we went up to my son's house one day, and he had a little bird there, a little cockatiel. And I pulled back the cover, and I noticed the little feller with skin and bones. He was mutilating himself, pulling his feathers out. His water was green, and he was pitiful. And I went into the living room and I asked my son what was going on with the little bird. He told me his mother-in-law sold those type birds, but since he was born with a club foot, she was just going to let him go ahead and die because she couldn't get any money from him. I asked Alan if he would let me take the bird home, so I did. I took Tiny Tide home. That's what I named him. I bought him a cage. I bought him the best food, vitamins for his water. I worked with him for months to get him healthy. Then after that, I started working with his little club foot. I got him to where he could get out of the bottom of his cage. He started climbing. He started perching on his little perches and stuff like that. He learned the Andy Griffith song, but later on I thought if he can learn that, he can learn Yeah, Alabama line and a little bit more. He did sing. I did get him to whistle that. So anyway, Coach Stallings was talking to Chris one day, and he said something about speaking with me, and I was talking to him, and Tiny was in the cage, was in that room I was in, and he said, "What's that in the background?" I told him, and he said, "That ain't a bird singing that." I said, "Yes, sir. I'll send you a tape of it. Would you?" That just seemed, I said, "Yes, sir. I'll put it in the mail." So the next day I sent it to him. A few days later, Miss Nose called me, his secretary. She said, "Phyllis, that's the sweetest thing anybody's ever done for this university." And I said, "What, Ms. No?" She said, "You sending that tape down here of that little bird." She said, "We just come from the viewing room, and we have laughed. And I'm telling you what, I thought the team was going to fall out of their chairs. Coach Stallings put it up where they could watch it, and he's sitting on my head in the video because that's where he liked to perch, whistling "Yay, Alabama." So my hair is the nest, and so Coach Stallings told him this little bird was born with a club foot. He couldn't climb, he couldn't walk, he was dying. They were letting him die because he wasn't sellable, et cetera, and he explained to him how I worked with him and got him to sing a whistle that. And he basically told the team, if this little tiny bird can do that, then you can go out there in that field and you can do it too. You can come back. Yes, he used Tiny as an example. And Ms. No said even Hootie Ingram said that was the funniest thing he ever seen in his life. He wasn't laughing about me being stupid or anything like some people said I was. He was laughing because I didn't care that people saw my little bird sitting on top of my head whistling "Yeah, Alabama." I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And by George, so did Ms. Nose and Coach Stallings, and I think the team kind of liked him too.
That's
and
hilarious.
I'm just wondering if George Teague, I'm going to have to send him a tweet and ask him if he was in that viewing room that day. I'm going to tell him I'm the woman that was in that video.
Oh, my goodness.
But it was the 92 team, I believe, that saw it. And after that's when we were invited down there. And every time I would talk to Coach. Paul would let me talk to him whenever he'd, be in his studio or something after that or on the phone. And every time I'd talk to Coach Stallings, one of the first things he'd say is, how's that bird? How's Tiny Tide doing? He never forgot him. And I asked him, I said, have you still got the tape? Yes, I do. I most certainly do. So he took it with him to Texas. And he loved that tape. And but Ms. No said, she said, I'm still laughing. She said, tears is rolling down my cheeks. I laughed so hard. She said, because I kind of knew you, and I knew that you didn't care that was going on. I said, no, I didn't. I said, I'll send another one. It don't matter to me. I said, that's where he was most comfortable at, and that's where he loved to whistle "Yay, Alabama" was on top of my head. So that's what he gets, and he still does it. He's getting old. He's got little bitty gray whiskers, which make him look, defined, kind of like an older actor or something. But he's my heart. I love my little bird.
You know,
I do.
that's what's so great though. You don't care. Like I don't care either. I wouldn't care what anybody thinks. Like, you know,
No,
it wouldn't matter to me. I'd be thrilled to
that's
send
right.
something like that. Do you,
Well, Chris asked me afterwards. He said, "Mama, what if he had used the bathroom on your head?" I said, "Why don't I just turn around and say, Chris, would you hand me a tissue up there, please?" He said, "You wouldn't have said cut, Tina." I said, "No, I wouldn't have said cut." He was in the middle of singing "Yeah, Alabama." I wasn't going to stop that.
That's more important. You know, that's so funny, Phyllis. Like, we need to know. So if Jay Barker or George Teague is listening to this, we need to know if they saw.
Oh, I hope they saw it.
If they saw the video.
They had to tell them the next time they see Coach Stallings, ask him about it. He'll send them a copy. I know he will. I know he will. I've got copies here myself. I can send them. The same very one. I had copies made of it, and Chris put them on CDs for me.
Oh my goodness, I would love to
The
see
DVD.
that. Oh,
So I'll send you. I'll send you a burnt copy.
yeah, you need
I'll send
to.
you one.
I'd love to see
I'd
that.
love-
You know what's so
You're
funny?
gonna love him. He's so pretty.
Oh, I bet. I bet. I would. This is so funny too because like this conversation. I mean, this is just like us sitting in a room just telling stories,
Yes.
and I love it. I love it.
So do I. So do I. And you know what? I used to tease Don. I'd say, you know, I want to go to Bama Fever, and I want to find a little bitty, tiny toboggan. And he said, what? Why? I said, I want a little Alabama toboggan for Tiny. He kept put a toboggan on a bird's head. I said, hide and watch me. But no, he's just he's very special, not just to me and Don and Chris, but to my kids and my brothers. You know, he's amazed. He has amazed them all.
And apparently he's important to Gene Stallings.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you something else. When my son's mother-in-law found out about this, Tina sent her a copy. When she saw that copy and saw how beautiful he was, and watched him sitting on my head singing that, she told my son she wanted him back. And I told my son, I said, I can't say this on the radio. I said, you tell her to blankety blank. She was letting my little bird die, and she'll never, ever see him again except for in a piece of film. She's not touching my little bird.
Oh.
So that was the end of that. She wanted him back so she could sell him. See, there's your greed. There's your greed.
That's ridiculous. Oh, yep. No way.
I was still mad at her because she was letting him die. I never got over that. I thought, you know, that's mean. That's just mean.
Well,
you don't starve an animal like that.
No. And look what you've done with that bird. That's incredible.
Well, I told Don. He said he's gonna die, Phyllis. I said, not if I can help it. Not if I can help it. But I went home knowing there was that big chance that he wouldn't make it. But I prayed, and like I said, I gave him vitamins in his water. I wouldn't even give him water without the vitamins. I gave him the premium, tiny seed food, cockatiel seed food, and he just flourished and thrived. And he's a little star himself.
That's so cool.
He needs his little, what do you call a bird's legs, little talons. He needs them on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Or we need to at least put them in concrete at the University of Alabama.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Tiny Tide.
Yes, that would be hilarious. Yes.
Somebody's got a bird down there.
No, that's a good representative. How cute would that be? Would that not be the cutest little thing?
It would be cute. And we could put a picture of him.
Yes.
Put a little picture there. I think that'd be cute.
That would be adorable.
No, anybody within the sound of my voice, if you know Coach Stallings, ask him about Tiny Tide and that video. He'll tell you. He loved it. And laughed. Oh, he laughed so hard.
It's just so cool to hear things about these coaches. And, you know...
He was a mess. Coach Stallings is a mess. I mean, just good, down-to-earth person. good Christian man. His wife, I never met her. I never had the chance to meet her in person, but I just adored her and still do.
Oh yeah, Ruth Ann. She seems like a really sweet lady.
Everybody that's ever met her told me that she was adorable and just a precious person. And I'll buy that for sure.
Yeah, I know. I've always heard good things.
I loved Johnny with all my heart. That broke my heart. It broke my heart. But
I know.
But he's in heaven. Johnny's in heaven. He's in God's arms, and hey, he's having a blast, and he's not having any problems whatsoever either. He's all brand new, and Johnny is happy. Coach needs to know that.
That's right.
He needs to know that.
That's right. You're such an inspiration, Phyllis. You know. Oh. No, you really are. I mean, you're just an incredible person, and so. I want to get you back on at some point, Phyllis, whenever you want to, because there's actually another topic, too, that I kind of wanted you to talk about. And I think you know what I'm talking about, but I kind of wanted to go into that maybe next time and talk some more Alabama football. But I know you've got some stories that would really touch people, and if we can touch any one person, it'd be great.
I would love to, and the story you're talking about may be about abuse.
Yes.
And not just abuse in women, but abuse in any fashion.
Yes.
Abuse to children, abuse to men, abuse to women. That has got to stop.
Yes.
Something has got to be. And women have got, and men have got to get out of that situation. Find a window if you have to. Crawl through it. Do whatever you have to. This got to stop. Don't let that continue to be done to your body, because it will. If they say they'll never do it again, that's the biggest lie I've ever heard. That's the fact.
Amen. And I want to talk more about that. So please come back on. And I have loved this day, Phyllis. I will never forget this day.
I've had a blast.
I will never forget this.
I'm home 24 hours a day, and my husband's an introvert, and you try to talk to him, and if you say more than 3 words, it's like you're talking too much, you know. And Billy, you just got. I asked you the time, and you just now built me a clock. That's what he tells me.
Hey, I told you
he's
too.
He's a good man. He loves me. That's all that matters.
That's what matters. And I told you too. I'm going to come have lunch with you one day because I just really want to hang out with you.
I would love to have lunch with you.
I just want to hang out. This has been a real treat for me too, Phyllis, and I sure appreciate it. So yes,
and me too.
Let's talk. Oh, you're welcome. Let's talk soon.
Thank you for what you did.
Absolutely.
Please tell your brother God love him. I love him, and George, if you're listening, and Jay, if you're listening, the same to you. I love y'all, and God bless you for thinking of me. I will never forget you caring enough about me to take time to leave me those messages. They touched my heart. All 3 of them touched my heart. I'll never forget it as long as I live. Thank you so much, and I love y'all so much.
That was beautiful. Let's just end right there then, Phyllis. I love you, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, honey. Love you too, and roll tide.
Roll tide! What an amazing show this has been today. I mean, Phyllis is just, there's just not enough you can say about Phyllis. She is such a sweet person, and I love having her on, and I think the audience loves having her on. She's just, everything she says is just so heartfelt and genuine and real, and we need real people like that in this world. I mean, it's just a breath of fresh air to talk to Phyllis. I've loved every minute of it. And also, I'd like to thank a couple of folks today. I'd like to thank Jay Barker for giving up his time and doing something special for Phyllis. And George Teague, same way, giving up his time and doing this incredible thing for Phyllis. I mean, these ex-football players giving back like that, that's just so touching. And it just kind of makes you tear up to know what great men these guys are that don't even hesitate to help you out and reach out to a fan. I love it that they did that. Couldn't appreciate them more. And you can find Jay Barker Monday through Friday on Tide 102.9. Get the app if you don't have it. He's on from 12 to 2 with Lars Anderson and Antonio Langham. Great radio show. And also George Teague. Look him up on Twitter. He's at Teague Football. Also subscribe to his YouTube channel. Just look up George Teague channel. Boom, it's right there. Subscribe to it. He does a lot of great stuff on YouTube. And also a special thanks to Title Towel, the towel of the Bama Bo Show. You can look them up on Twitter at Title Towel, and that'll take you to their website, whitwillsports.com. They got some great Alabama gear. Go get you some. Also, special thanks to Soul Street Coffee, the coffee of the Bama Bo Show. And they're doing a really cool giveaway right now. It's the kickoff to the football season. They're going to be giving away several different kinds of coffee, tea, a mini football, a mug, a Title towel, all kind of stuff in this package. And all you got to do to enter is retweet this with the hashtag that I'm putting on it on Twitter. Retweet it, your name goes in. Also, order some stuff from them with the promo code BamaBo17. Your name will go in the hat. Look them up on Twitter. It's at SoulST Coffee. It'll take you to their website, soulstreetcoffee.com, and it'll tell you what to do from there. But I highly recommend it. This is a really fun giveaway. So special thanks to everybody. Darren Duke for lending me his song. As always, you can find him on YouTube. It's at Capndedo, Capndedo. He's got a lot of good music on there. Look him up and give him a follow. And first and foremost, thank you to you guys for even listening and giving me the opportunity to talk to some of these people and have some really cool guests on. And I hope to continue to grow and get better. And listen, give me your feedback. If there's something you don't like, let me know, because I am more than willing to change it. I'm doing this for you guys, so I want you guys to be happy. So until next time, roll Tide and peace out.
He's a good man. He's got fear in as long as the tide is winning. It's in his blood and it runs down to the bone. From his t-shirt from 92 to his faded deuce, his loose tattoo. Need to ask one look and you just knew he's crimson through and through. He's crimson through and through. Really went south for game 2, the rematch against LSU, for the battle on the bayou in New Orleans. Now listen, fans showed up from miles around to watch a freight train mow a honey badger down to a familiar sound in that Cajun town. They sang Rammer Jammer, Yellow Hammer, yeah. Give 'em hell, Alabama, yeah. And he's a good man, he's got fear in as long as the tide is winning. It's in his blood and it runs down to the bone. From his t-shirt from 92 to his faded deuce, his loose tattoo. Need to ask one look and you just knew he's crimson through and through. He's a member of the Saban Nation, cut his teeth on